it doesn't smell of banana. I was really curious when I saw banana fibre. I didn't know you could make a cellulose fibre from bananas. Hello and welcome. My name's Jo. I'm a full-time doll artist based on a narrowboat in Wales. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I make cloth art dolls of the creepy cute variety with button eyes, and I tend to stick to vegan materials. So whenever I see a new plant fibre, I get a little bit curious as to how that would work for doll hair or stuffing. So today I've got a parcel. I've got an order of some new materials that I haven't tried before from World of Wool, which is a popular supplier in the UK. Despite the name, they do have quite a good range of different kinds of fibres, and they have a good vegan range, so I'm really excited to try these and see what's in here. I've actually forgotten what I ordered. I wasn't able to collect this straight away. As I'm on a boat, I don't have my own mailbox, so I have to get them delivered elsewhere and then pick them up when I can. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. I bought these with my own money. I'm not sponsored by World of Wool, but they are a supplier I've used quite a few times in the past. So it's a supplier that I know I can trust. So I've ordered a couple of small amounts of stuffing materials. Recently, I've been using polyester, either fiberfill or polyester staple fibre for my dolls. I used to use K-pop quite a lot, but I found that the K-pop that's been coming into the UK in recent years has been a little bit dusty, and it's not worked very well for the dolls that I make. So unfortunately, I had to stop using that for the time being, and I've been looking for a good alternative ever since. I have used viscose in the past, which worked quite well, but then I haven't been able to get that recently either. So it's quite interesting to see a couple of different staple fibres coming onto the market. I've got some bamboo staple fibre. I do use bamboo quite a lot for doll hair, and that's bamboo roving. But this is the first time I've ever seen bamboo staple fibre. So I'm assuming it's going to be quite easy to felt into. I do needle felt doll hair. I felt bamboo roving into the doll head quite easily. So I'm hoping that this will work quite well with the bamboo roving. And it feels actually quite similar to viscose fibre. It's not got a lot of bounce. So I'm thinking it's probably going to stuff quite firmly, which is good. The main issue I have with some stuffing fibres, I tried cotton, and that was impossible to needle felt into because it's packed so firmly into the doll head that I couldn't get felting needles into it. So I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm hoping this will be similar to K-pop in consistency when it's stuffed, but it'll be interesting to see what that's like. So that's a 100-gram pack. I'm not sure how many dolls I'll get out of that, but it's good to just try a small amount first before I buy a bigger pack of it. The other stuffing material I got here is soybean staple fibre. Now this is less white. The bamboo is very white, so that'll be good under pale fabrics. This will be, I would use for darker fabrics. I don't know, I've never used soybean fibre at all before. So let's see what it's like. Okay, so that feels quite similar in consistency to K-pop, actually. It's very soft and very silky. It's not got a lot of bounce, so I think that will stuff quite firmly. It has some thicker fibres in it, and it's quite yellowy. I don't know if that really shows up on camera, but it's quite yellowy in colour. Again, that's a 100-gram pack. So soybean, I'm looking forward to having a go with that and seeing what it's like to stuff with and seeing what it's like to needle felt into. If you've ever tried using any of these fibres, by the way, please do let me know in the comments what your experience with them is. Okay, now I've got a few different rovings that I've never tried before that I'm going to use for doll hair, or going to try and use for doll hair. So I did get some soybean top roving, and I don't know how long the fibres are on soybean, so it might be completely unsuitable for doll hair. I don't know. Let's have a look at it and see. So it's the same kind of slightly yellowy colour. If I can find the end here, let's try and pull a little bit out and just see what the fibres are like. Okay, so those are quite short fibres. So I've got my handy ruler here. So the fibres are about 3 to 4 inches long. So might not get very long hair out of that, but it is quite a fine fibre. This would be really good, I think, for spinning with, if you're making your own yarns for like knitting or crochet or something like that. Whether it'll be any good for doll hair, I have no idea, but that's something that'll be interesting to try. Next we have banana. I was really curious when I saw banana fibre. I didn't know you could make a cellulose fibre from bananas. I'm assuming it's from the banana stem or skins. I don't know. I'm assuming it's not from the fruit. But this is very white. It doesn't smell of banana. It looks quite similar to Ramie fibre. It's got that very soft sheen and it's very white. Let's see what the length of the fibres is like. Oh yeah, now these are much longer fibres. So measuring that on my ruler. So these fibres are kind of 6 or 7 inches long. Maybe even longer. I'd say probably about 7 inches long. So that's going to be really nice for longer doll hair, and it's quite fine and quite silky. That is very similar, I think, to Ramie fibre. So I think that's going to work really well for a kind of a spooky ghost doll. And the last roving that I got, this is lotus fibre. So lotus fibre is made from the lotus flowers, I believe. So it is quite similar in appearance to rose fibre. It's got that sheen to it. It's quite pearlescent. And the fibres are about 3.5 inches. So again, much shorter than the banana fibre. So I'm not sure how good that's going to be for needle felting. It does have a slightly squeaky feel to it, which is a bit similar to how viscose feels, but it feels very, very soft. Oh, it's getting stormy outside. The boat's creaking and it's raining. So I have a couple of the fibres that I do use regularly. So this is bamboo. So the fibres in bamboo roving are, where's my ruler? So the bamboo fibres are about 4 inches long, and I do needle felt hair with that quite successfully. So I think the soybean is a little bit shorter than bamboo. The lotus fibre, maybe just slightly shorter. This is rose, so we can compare. I'm going to have to make sure I don't get these mixed up. So rose fibre looks very, very similar to the lotus. Now lotus, I'd say, is not quite as white as the rose fibre. It's got a slightly more yellowy kind of tint to it. The rose fibre is about 4 inches. Yeah, about the same as bamboo. So we'll have a go anyway. We'll see what those are like. I'm not sure which I'm going to use first. I'm going to try... Sorry, the boat's making some really weird creaky noises in the wind. So maybe I will try the bamboo stuffing first. And what am I going to try for the hair? I'm quite intrigued by banana fibre. So I'm going to start a doll today using the bamboo stuffing, and I'm going to try using banana fibre for hair, felting into the bamboo, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. So it's mid-afternoon. I've been sewing and turning all the pieces for my doll. I decided to go for the white base fabric and kind of ivory colour with beigey coloured stripes. Like these are like ticking stripes for the legs. I figured I'm going to make a ghost doll in whites, off-whites, creamy sort of colours. I want to use some of this vintagey look cotton lace for it somewhere, and maybe some kind of linen look fabric. So I turned all the pieces and I did start stuffing it using the bamboo staple fibre. And I'll be honest, I'm not convinced. I'm not a fan. First of all, the texture of it is very squeaky. If you've got any kind of sensory issues, you might not like it. The fibres are quite long and it seems to kind of wrap around itself and go into lumps. And I found it impossible to get it smooth. It kind of seems to clump together in little bits. And I tried stuffing the body a couple of times and it just wasn't working, so I've taken it out again. So I think that bamboo staple fibre is a no for me. It's probably going to be all right for other crafts. I think if you were making a teddy bear with a thicker faux fur or plush fabric, then it might be nice for that. If you wanted something that's kind of more soft and cuddly and it doesn't need to be stiff stuffed, then if the fabric you're using has got a lot more structure to it, then I can see it being useful for that. But for doll making, for stiff stuffing, quilting cotton, I don't think it is going to be suitable. Not for me anyway. I might use it for something else. I'm probably going to put it in storage for 5 years and forget about it, to be honest. That's what I usually seem to do. But no, not for me. So I'm going to go back to using some polyester staple fibre to stuff this one. And I'm hoping that the banana fibre will needle felt okay into that. I'm still going to try that. And okay, so let's get on with the rest of it and see what happens. I used to think I hated polyester, but the thing I've found with it is because it's a synthetic fibre, it's really variable. I've had packs of polyester stuffing that I found unusable because they've been really lumpy or just too slippery and springy. And I've had other packs that I've loved because they were so easy to use. But then when I went back to get some more, I couldn't find it. So if you find a brand of polyester or any stuffing really that you really actually like, buy as much as you're able to afford or that you have space for, because it's so annoying when you find something amazing and then it goes out of stock or the seller switches to something else. I got this pack from a local craft shop. If I can't find a plant fibre that works well, I'm going to have to get more of this because I really like this one. It has a nice consistency. I do still want to try the soybean fibre for stuffing, but because of the yellowy colour of it, I'm going to save that one for a doll with a darker skin fabric. If you're interested in seeing that though, make sure you hit the like button on this video, and you can also subscribe if you like, then future videos are much more likely to show up in your feed. So it's now Tuesday morning. I got all the stuffing done yesterday, so I managed to stuff all that with polyester fibre. That took me most of the day after I finished messing about with the bamboo fibre that didn't work. So today I need to joint all these pieces. So the arms and legs are going to be jointed with metal beads. I found some nice antique silver effect metal beads for those. The neck is going to be a button joint. So one button will go on the back and the other button will go on top of the head, and the joint will be strung between them. So today I want to get all the jointing done apart from the hips. That will be a hinge joint, but I want to paint some either boots or shoes or something first, and it's a lot easier to do that when the legs are separate. So hopefully I'll get on to that today. I will definitely get all the bead joints and the neck joint done today. So let's get on with it. I love bead jointing. It's such a versatile method of jointing for a cloth doll. Depending on the size and shape of the beads and how you place them, you can get a lot of variation in the range of movements, so you can position your doll however you want them. I did forget to mention that, as well as leaving the legs separate, I do leave the arms separate. I'll attach a bead at the top of the arm for the shoulder joint, and then I'll attach that to the body later as I joint the arms on after the clothes. Because of the way the button joint works for the neck, you end up with a visible button on the top of the head and another one either on the front or the back of the body. On my dolls, they're usually on the back. I will hide that button under the clothing, and then the button that's on top of the head will get hidden underneath the hair when I needle felt it. I decided to paint some boots in acrylics, which I've mixed with some fabric medium, so it sits better on the fabric. I start with a pale grey to cover up the stripes on the legs, and then I go over that with a creamy shade. I'm hoping that this isn't too yellowy. I paint some leafy designs on the boots, and then I give it a coat of satin finish polyurethane varnish, so it has a nice tough finish. The varnish kind of makes the paint look a little bit yellowy again, and I'm thinking that that's going to dry to a pale sort of creamy kind of colour though, so I'm hoping that that's going to be all right. It's now Friday morning. I've had a couple of days away from doll making, doing other things, but I did get to go to Hobbycraft. Hobbycraft is probably the largest art and craft supplier in the UK. I buy most of my materials online, but I do like to go occasionally and just have a look at the fabrics and lace and buttons and beads and things like that. They're also good for paints and lots of other arty, crafty kind of things. I went in for lace. My number one priority was to buy some lace, and I did get some lace. I got a couple of these reels of cotton vintage look lace. I also though couldn't resist having a look around the rest of the shop. I'll put some footage on screen now of the vast array of ribbons and lace and fabrics that were on sale. I managed to restrain myself though. I only bought a few things. I got this massive pack of pipe cleaners. Hobbycraft call them chenille stems. I don't know why stems, but I call them pipe cleaners. Usually when you see packs of these in craft shops, they're all multicoloured, but I just wanted the black ones, and I was able to get a big pack of just black ones in Hobbycraft. I also stocked up on needles, which I've been desperately needing for a long time. My standard doll needles, I get through quite a lot of these, and just standard household ones of varying sizes. So now I'm always going to have the needle that I need when I need it until I break them all. So the paint and varnish has now thoroughly dried on the boots. I was a little bit worried about the colour when I first did this. When I varnished them, they did look quite yellow, but as that's properly dried, that's mellowed out a bit now, and it's dried, as I hope, to a kind of creamy colour. So today I'm going to start working on the face. I'll need to do the shading for the eyes, and I'll start working on the dress as well. So let's get on with it. So it's now Saturday morning. It's a bright sunny morning. I was awake bright and early at 5 a.m. as my cat decided it would be the perfect time to rearrange her cat litter. But I've had coffee, so I'm ready to get started. I got quite a lot done on the doll yesterday. I made her dress. I initially made a cotton muslin skirt with some of the cotton lace that I bought from Hobbycraft. And then I decided it needed another layer on top. So I dug out some nice ivory lace and made a little over skirt, which I think looks really cute. I also did a bit of painting on there and painted a tattoo. I added a little bit of green into the leaves, and then I decided the detail I did on the face needed some green as well. So yeah, she's getting there. I've made her a choker as well. Normally I'd leave the necklace until last, but then I thought, well, when I'm gluing it in place, the hair always gets in the way. So I thought it might be easier to just do that first before I start doing the hair. So that's been drying overnight and that's now well stuck in place. So today all I need to do really is to needle felt the hair, which I'm going to try out the banana fibre for. And once that's done, then I can get some photographs taken and edited and then put her up on the website for sale. This fibre is really lovely and silky and soft, and I love the effect of it. If anything, I think my only issue with needle felting with this has been that it is a very, very strong fibre. Now that could be an advantage or a disadvantage depending on your project. But once it's felted in, it's really, really felted in. It's really difficult to pull out. Now I say it was an issue because when I came to felt over the top, when I came to layer on more hair just over the parting on the top of the head, I did break a felting needle because it was so tough to felt into. I didn't record that bit because this is at risk of becoming the Joe Breaks Another Felting Needle channel at this point. I have made other videos about that, which I will link on the screen somewhere. But so I had to remove some of the hair to pull the broken end of the felting needle out, and it was quite difficult to pull out. It was so strong. I've really carefully felted the parting again on top of that, and I'd had to go quite slowly and just felt it a tiny bit at a time to felt it in properly without it breaking another needle. But we got there and it is lovely. I've named this little one Augusta Sourvine. I see her as the ghost of a young girl haunting the gardens of an old manor house. Many years ago, she loved to wander the furthest reaches of the gardens, picking wildflowers and berries, until one day she made a terrible mistake and picked the wrong berries. Ever since then, she can sometimes be seen at dusk when the light is just fading, drifting through the gardens, lost in her own world. If you'd like to see how I fixed my terrible mistake when a felting needle became embedded in a doll's head, go watch the video on screen now, and I'll see you next time. Bye!